Good evening. City councilors have put their stamp of approval on Toronto's 2026 budget, passing it within the past hour.
Mayor Olivia Chow says it will make life more affordable, but critics say it's a budget aimed at buying votes. CTV's Natalie Johnson is live tonight at City Hall with the latest. Natalie.
Nathan, 2.2% has been confirmed as Toronto's tax increase for 2026. Mayor Olivia Chow's last tax hike of the term, the lowest, which her critics say is convenient on the eve of an election. As demonstrators rallied outside City Hall today, calling on council to make 11th-hour changes to the budget.
We don't need more money for the police.
We need to fund social services and look after people.
You have to increase housing supports.
Care prevents crisis.
Inside, the mayor pumped up the plan.
A budget to make life in Toronto more affordable, caring, and safe. More affordable, caring, and safe.
Touting the TTC fare freeze, expanded student nutrition programs, Sunday library hours, set a low 2.2% property tax hike.
You're effectively trying to buy Torontonians' votes with this budget.
A lot of those reserve funds will continue to grow.
Taking heat on how the budget was balanced to achieve that inflationary increase.
If you look at the net and how the mayor has managed to pull off a 2.2% tax increase in light of rising city costs, it's because the budget dips into the city's bank account.
But I guess the definition of emergency changes a bit during an election year.
Will you commit that if you were re-elected, you would deliver next year's budget also at the rate of inflation?
No direct answer on that.
I couldn't get an idea from the mayor on how she plans to sustain this if she's able to do budgets in the future.
People that said last year's was too high, they should be happy this year instead of complaining and saying we're rating and you're doing this wrong and doing this wrong. Just say, yeah, that's what I asked for. You did it. Thanks, Mayor.
The mayor defending the way the budget was balanced.
This is the time when everybody is saying that you need to make life more affordable.
This is a one-year plug to improve Mayor Chow's re-election prospects in the fall.
We're in politics. I think everyone's always constantly thinking about those prospects.
What is it that you want to do?
Mayor.
An election year budget.
I think this is a good budget this year.
There's no hope this year, but we'll see what happens next year.
For the books. And there was an attempt to raise the cost of riding the TTC, but that did not pass. That fare freeze will remain intact for 2026. Reporting live in City Hall, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. And still with the city, more than $2 million worth of tickets were issued to drivers who parked on snow routes following snowstorms last month. Toronto police say more than 21,000 tickets were issued between January 15th and January 30th for people parked illegally in areas where snow plowing and removal was required. The $2 million total is likely higher as the data does not include the last 10 days. The major snowstorm declaration is officially ended as of 5 p.m. following the record-setting storm on January 25th. Targeted snow removal does continue, however, and drivers caught parking on snow routes face fines of up to $500 as well as towing expenses.
Just ahead tonight, major airlines cancel all flights to Cuba as empty planes travel to the island to bring Canadians home. We check in with travelers amid the fallout from the fuel crisis. But first, to check on the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. We're past the deep freeze, but a slight cool down is expected tonight. However, overall, much more manageable conditions for this time of year. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current situation. Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, wow, what a difference this afternoon compared to the last many weeks. I'll step aside so you can see that at this hour, it is still 2 degrees. Yes, +2. We climbed above freezing this afternoon. Finally, first time in more than 3 weeks. It's also 6 degrees at this hour in Windsor. Compare that to -9 in Ottawa. So a 15-degree difference depending on which part of the province you're joining us from. Winds out of the west today. We did have snow early in the morning. And then this afternoon, we had a little bit of mixing, even a couple of raindrops in some areas. Yes, through the night tonight, we do cool down again, -5 for the low. But overall, our temperature pattern is looking a little more consistently near the freezing mark. So we'll take you through what you need to know for the rest of the week ahead coming up. For now, though, Nathan, going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. A 24-year-old man was gunned down in the parking lot of a Burlington mall late last night.
Now, Halton police are searching for a pair of suspects in connection with his murder. CTV's John Musselman has the latest on the investigation.
Witnesses report hearing at least 3 gunshots ring out around 10:10 last night in the parking lot of this Burlington mall near Guelph Line and Fairview Street. The victim was inside a white car when he was shot. He was rushed to hospital, but he did not survive. This man, who didn't want to be identified, says he heard the shots and ran over to try and help the victim.
I kept putting pressure on the wound to keep the blood from going, and I called 911.
Obviously, that's going to be part of our investigation to see what the motive was, what any relationship was there. We do believe that this was a targeted incident. We don't believe there's any known risk to public safety at this time.
The victim has been identified by police as 24-year-old Omar Nayaz Mohammed. On social media, he has been identified as a local rap artist from Hamilton who went by the name Little OT. People were posting condolence messages online after news of his murder became public, writing, quote, "No way, rest in peace." Another wrote, "We are too blessed and privileged to be out here killing each other on the streets." Meanwhile, the gun violence in the mall parking lot has area residents concerned.
Absolute shock.
How
It
come?
just doesn't, it's the first I've heard of anything like this. It's residential.
What's the world coming to?
I think it's getting out of hand. Right now, even in Burlington, which is a bedroom community, and never really hear about that, all of a sudden, you hear situations like this.
Police are looking for at least 2 suspects seen taking off from this parking lot in a white SUV. If you know anything about this case, you're asked to call Halton Regional Police. John Musselman, CTV News in Burlington.
Toronto police have announced an arrest in the shooting death of a 16-year-old last week. 16-year-old Kian Sam was shot inside a Tim Hortons near Bellamy and Lawrence just after 4 p.m. last Thursday. He was rushed to hospital but later died. Today, police arrested a 15-year-old boy. He's facing a charge of second-degree murder, as well as charges of possession of a gun without a license and possession of a loaded gun. The teen's identity is protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. He was expected to make his first court appearance today.
Still ahead, the new border crossing between Windsor and Detroit now suddenly caught in political limbo as the U.S. president threatens to keep the bridge from opening. In moments, what Prime Minister Carney had to say about his conversation with Trump on the matter.
As the situation in Cuba continues to deteriorate, Canada's 3 major airlines have all canceled flights to the island.
The country is dealing with a critical fuel shortage, and empty planes are being sent from this country to help bring travelers back home. Our Raheem Ladani is at Pearson Airport tonight. And Raheem, you've been speaking with travelers. What are they saying?
Hi, Michelle. Yeah, you know, the people we've been chatting with tell us that their resort experience was not severely negatively impacted by the current fuel shortage, but there were some minor inconveniences that they did notice. We've also been speaking with Canadians who are still in Cuba, and they're not sure when they're going to be able to make it back home. For some Canadians in Cuba, their vacations are being cut short, now waiting to get back home.
A smooth trip down here has turned into a sort of disruptive return. So we're just going to enjoy the weather.
Steve Chapman flew to Veradero over the weekend and wasn't scheduled to fly back to Ottawa until the end of the month. But WestJet sent him an email overnight saying his flight home has been canceled.
We spoke to a person on the ground here, the tour operator, and she said that we just need to wait for an email from WestJet saying when we will be on our way home.
WestJet, Air Transat, and Air Canada are all winding down operations to the island country, which is experiencing its worst economic crisis in nearly 70 years. The country is struggling amid a lack of access to Venezuelan crude oil following U.S. action in that country. This has prompted major airlines to fly empty planes with extra fuel to bring travelers back.
That's why this is going to roll over the next, 5-10 days and bring people back as they were normally scheduled to when they left. And the idea of that is it gives people a chance to enjoy their time down there.
At Terminal 3 inside Toronto's Pearson International Airport, some travelers are beginning to arrive from Cuba.
Our resort was good, like the food was fine. We had like little hot water, but that was fine. And
no power outages.
No power outages or anything like that.
On our resort we didn't, but there was a whole bunch of people's resorts who got shut down due to the oil crisis.
It's not easy for the Cubans, but for the tourists we have no problems whatsoever, to be honest with you.
And I'm really sad that they've canceled all the flights.
Cuba's economy could suffer even further as airlines announce they're halting service until at least the end of April. Those who have flights booked will likely be reimbursed, but not necessarily for all expenses.
What about the non-refundable cost of the airfare, the vacation, the tours, all that? Unfortunately, if cancellation or interruption insurance was not purchased or it can't be purchased as of today, they don't have a lot of holdout for any hope of getting any of their monies back.
Some hotels have been closed and guests relocated as the Cuban government tries to save on resources. Air Canada tells us that any travelers who are in Cuba that would like to come back before their scheduled departure back to Toronto or any other destination, they can contact customer service and Air Canada will put them on a flight if there is space available at no extra charge. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Latani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem. One person has been taken to hospital following a stabbing near Shepherd in the 404. It happened around 10:30 this morning after police responded to reports of an argument. One person was found with serious injuries. They were rushed to hospital and are expected to survive. Police are searching for a male suspect.
Peel police are asking for the public's help to locate a man wanted in connection with multiple sexual assaults. 24-year-old Christopher Brito D'Arrojo is facing several charges, including 5 counts of sexual assault, 4 counts of sexual exploitation. Police say he was a youth director at a church in Brampton. They confirmed on February 2nd D'Arrojo fled Canada for Brazil. Investigators say they're concerned there may be other victims.
A 14-year-old boy is facing several charges in connection with threats made against students and staff at an Oshawa school. Last week, Thursday, Durham Regional Police responded to a threatening call at Harmony Heights Public School. The school was put in hold and secure until police determined the threat was false. A 14-year-old student who attended a different school has been arrested and is facing several charges, including uttering threats, mischief, and criminal harassment. He has since been released from custody. Durham police issued a statement asking parents to speak with their children about the seriousness of making false threats.
It is a much anticipated link between two countries, but the Gordie Howe International Bridge has now become the center of the latest dispute in the ongoing trade war between the U.S. and Canada.
Donald Trump says America should own half of the crossing, despite the fact it was paid for by Canada and the state of Michigan has an ownership stake. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the details.
It was a moment of friendship, a symbol of cooperation, a sunrise handshake as neighbors were bound together by a steel beam over the Detroit River, part of the new Gordie Howe Bridge. Less than 2 years later, the President of the United States is threatening to keep the span from opening.
The U.S. should own at least half of the bridge, have shared authority over what passes across it, and participate in the economic benefits generated by its use.
The Prime Minister spoke with Donald Trump, trying to set him straight.
I explained that Canada, of course, paid for the construction of the bridge, over $4 billion, that the ownership is shared between the state of Michigan and the government of Canada.
Mark Carney confident it will all work out. So is the Premier.
Because it's in the best interest of the American economy, the Americans, the 13 Congresspeople that are going for re-election in the midterms.
The risk is more congestion on the Ambassador Bridge in the busiest commercial corridor between Canada and the U.S.
A move like that would threaten thousands of workers, both American and Canadian, right? It's bad for both of us.
President Trump is again singling out Ontario's LCBO, one of the biggest buyers of alcohol in the world, keeping American-made booze off its shelves for almost a year. Doug Ford has no plans to bring it back.
Want to fix it? Get rid of the tariffs. Stop hurting Americans and Canadians.
Ontario has about $80 million of American booze in storage. Some, mostly pre-made cocktails, is about to be poured down the drain.
I believe that the number is around just under $2 million that will expire by May.
Other provinces have sold off their backstock, often giving the proceeds to charity. But the Premier and his finance minister say doing that would hurt Ontario alcohol producers. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Authorities in the U.S. are asking for the public's help in the search for clues in the disappearance of the mother of NBC Today show host Savannah Guthrie. Today, the FBI released surveillance video and images of a person at Nancy Guthrie's home. The previously inaccessible images show a person in the porch area of the home on the night Guthrie was kidnapped. The person was wearing a mask, gloves, backpack, and what's believed to be a gun holster. It looks like the person tried to block the front doorbell camera with foliage gathered nearby, then appeared to damage it. At least 2 ransom notes were delivered initially to news media. The family has said it will pay and believes Nancy Guthrie is still alive.
On Parliament Hill, the Conservatives introduced a motion today to bar non-citizens convicted of serious crimes from making refugee claims. It also calls on the government to prevent asylum claims from people whose cases are still working their way through the courts. The motion is related to a dramatic increase in extortion-related crimes. The Tories say more than a dozen suspects facing deportation claimed refugee status and insist efforts to expel extortionists have fallen through a loophole. The Liberals pointed to what they call tough laws already in place, as well as proposed changes to bail and sentencing law.
The Prime Minister is heading overseas tomorrow for a summit focusing on defense policy. Mark Carney's traveling to Germany to attend the Munich Security Conference. The group that runs the conference issued a report that pulls from Carney's speech last month to the World Economic Forum. He urged middle powers to work together against great power economic coercion. The PM will also meet with business leaders while in Germany until Sunday.
Canada's housing market is being dragged down by economic uncertainty.
A new report forecasts higher building costs, fewer new homes built, and more existing units left unsold. CTV's Heather Wright has the details.
The headwinds facing Canada's economy are being felt by Canada's housing industry as well.
The general climate environment of uncertainty that has been brought about by the trade tensions and the uncertainty going forward has definitely impacted housing investment.
According to the Housing Market Outlook released today by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, new home construction is set to decline through 2028 as developers face high costs, weaker demand, and more unsold homes. Condo construction is expected to be especially weak. The CMHC report also underscores the impact elevated unemployment, modest income growth, and slowing population growth are having on the housing market.
Several factors that are spelling out a slower market for the next several years.
While new condo construction is expected to remain high in Montreal, the CMHC predicts a dismal condo market in both Vancouver and Toronto, where inventory is high and sales are weak.
A seller of a new build, you're looking at a full deposit forfeit.
Daniel Zadigan is a realtor who says sellers are losing deposits and then some when trying to sell condos they bought pre-construction 4 or 5 years ago, when prices were high and interest rates were low. But he says the oversupply won't last forever, and the lack of starts will create new problems down the road.
Long term, however, the lack of housing starts is at one point going to show its impact, maybe in a few years, because I know starting next year, I think the housing starts, completions, are going to really start to dramatically taper off.
The CMHC has warned that Canada needs an additional 3.5 million homes to restore affordability by 2030, a goal becoming increasingly difficult to attain. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, about half of all Canadians don't have life insurance, and many people don't because they think it's too expensive or they don't want to think about dying. But if you have people who depend on you, it's an important part of financial planning. All of that story, that's just ahead.
So the last time we had a day this mild was all the way back on January 17th. So that's 23 days with our temperature in the minuses. It's not a record streak. We went 47 days back in the 1970s below that freezing threshold. Over the next 3 days here, we've got a couple of plus ones to look forward to. A couple of cool days here and there as well. But this weekend for many is a long weekend. And we're going to take you through the forecast when CTV News returns in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
With the cost of living increasing, it can be difficult to pay your bills. And with that, a new survey finds many Canadians aren't bothering to get life insurance.
But if you have children or other dependents, it's something you may want to include as part of your financial picture. Here's Pat Foran with a consumer alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. About half of Canadians don't have life insurance because they think it's too expensive, and many people don't want to think about dying. But if it happens, a policy could pay off your debts, cover final expenses, and help look after your family.
I'll just try this way. Pamela and Luigi Lacorte Vaughn are getting ready for a birthday party for their twins who are turning 1 year old. Even before they started a family, they decided to get life insurance as part of their financial plan.
Now that we have 2 kids, it makes me feel so much more relieved. It's part of our budget now. We don't even think twice about it.
A life insurance survey by Policy Me found 42% of Canadians don't have life insurance or are unsure if they do, and 65% said they are unlikely to get life insurance in the next 5 years. The Lacortes say for them, it was an important part of their fiscal strategy.
It's not much given the psychological benefit knowing that if you pass, your kids are set up, your mortgage can be paid off, and they won't have any burden.
When it comes to life insurance, people don't think about their debt.
Policy Me specializes in term policies and says life insurance is not as expensive as many people think. A 20-year term policy for $250,000 for a 35-year-old man who is healthy and a non-smoker is about $19 a month. For a 35-year-old woman, the same coverage is about $15 a month. Once locked in, rates won't go up, and you can cancel at any time.
The point of life insurance is really to make sure that if that future income were to, not be around because because you pass away, that there is still money there to support the people who are relying on you.
Life insurance is a critical part of asset protection.
Financial expert Evelyn Jack says families should have a will along with life insurance, and says when policies are cashed in, they're tax-free.
It's a transaction you should do for yourself and your family to give you some peace of mind.
Finding extra money for another monthly expense can be difficult, but it may be worth it to know in the event of your death, your loved ones will be looked after.
And if you have a term policy, you may not need mortgage insurance. It's also cheaper. Along with term, there's also whole life and universal policies. You may also have group insurance through your work, but that could change if you leave your job. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, what a difference a day makes. We are out of the deep freeze. We're in positive territory, and you can really feel the difference.
Yeah, just being at 0, 1, hovering around what would be considered normal temperatures for this time of year, we really appreciate it.
We do. And, I did step outside this afternoon, and it wasn't snowflakes I saw. It was a couple of raindrops, which, when's the last time we talked about rain? It hasn't been mild enough for that. But yes, a nice little change for so many today, feeling a little more comfortable if you did step outside. Of course, we've had no shortage of snow and cold temperatures, which hasn't been great for everyone, but check this out. This is a 30-foot snowman that can be found in Elmvale, Ontario, which is north of Barrie. A father-son duo have been building this one for the last 5 weeks. It's the second time that they've built this kind of Frosty the Snowman. And you know what? It's taken a lot of work. They've had to use ladders and a pulley system. This is all now for a good cause, too. They're inviting anyone to come out to Elmvale, visit this big snowman, and drop off a non-perishable food item for the local food bank. So I love to see that. Something a little fun as we reminisce about all this snow and cold weather we've had so far this winter. It's been a lot, so it's been nice to enjoy today, this afternoon anyway, on the plus side of freezing. We're still at 2 degrees at Pearson Airport, starting to cool down slightly in Windsor. It was 7 degrees not long ago. It's 5 right now. It is still, of course, a little cooler in some areas, -2 degrees this hour in Muskoka, and still -9 degrees in the nation's capital. Here's a look at our almanac. So the seasonal norm is -1. Much closer to that is where we found ourselves this afternoon. Yesterday, the warmest it got was -6 degrees. And of course, we started off yesterday at -20. So this really has been a dramatic change. Of course, tonight we do slip back below freezing. -5 degrees is our forecast overnight low. It will continue to feel a little cooler than that with the wind chill, which is still sticking around. Tomorrow, though, Another milder day, +1 for the high, wind chill -4. And we will see a chance of flurries returning, very scattered in nature, not expecting it to amount to anything. And northwest winds are going to be a little breezy tomorrow. So while the temperature is on the plus side, it might feel slightly cooler than that compared to what we experienced this afternoon. 1 degree tomorrow for you in Oakville as well as Whitby, a little bit cooler as you make your way into the Kawarthas and Cottage Country, likely staying below freezing there. Here's our satellite and radar, a couple of different colors on the image today compared to, well, recently as well. We had snow this morning. It was just enough to maybe result in a little bit of light shoveling, brushing off the car, but it was a heavy wet snow this time, so you can tell the temperature difference out there. As we make our way through the next couple of days here, again, scattered flurries expected. No measurable snow unless you're joining us from areas close to the Bruce Peninsula, perhaps around London, Ontario. Otherwise, we are expecting varying amounts of sun and cloud over the next few days here, and temperatures pretty consistently near the freezing mark for highs. One cold overnight Thursday and into Friday at -10 degrees, but there's your Valentine's Day, 0 and mainly sunny skies. Sunday, we're going to watch for a little bit of light snow at night, and then Family Day Monday, +2 and a mix of sun and cloud to mostly cloudy skies. It's looking pretty good for travel if you're hoping to make some plans. That's the weather for now. Michelle, sending it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, using AI to diagnose medical problems. It may be free and easy, but the Canadian Medical Association is sounding the alarm, calling it dangerous.
Many years ago, a 5-year-old Toronto girl died of a brain tumor. But back then, a foundation in her honor was born.
Now it's marking its 25th anniversary with a new exhibit and new funding for research. Here's CTV's Pauline Chan.
25 portraits to match the years since Denise Bebenek started the foundation in Megan's honor.
Photographs that are here show who I call our heroes. These are our kiddos who we've supported through the years and given the families the opportunity, the ones that sadly have passed away, to celebrate their children.
They're calling it the 7% Gallery.
As we celebrate the medical advancements in pediatric brain tumor research, understanding that only 7% of Canadian cancer research funds go to pediatric oncology. And given that brain tumors are the #1 cause of cancer-related death in children, we felt it was time to get this statistic under control.
That figure is reflected in the 25 portraits, which are only 7% colorized. They show children, researchers, and Megan's Hug events, which have raised some $6.5 million for brain cancer research. Andrew Bondock talks about DIPG, the cancer Megan had, and the innovative ways they are developing to fight it by getting around the blood-brain barrier.
It's called MRI-guided focused ultrasound. It's a technique by which we non-invasively open the blood-brain barrier transiently, so for only a limited amount of time, which allows the drugs to get in, and then it closes back up.
And funding from the Megan Bebenek Foundation is already affecting patients' lives, like little Massimo, who was diagnosed with a brain tumor last year.
Just said mama this past week. He's learning to walk. He's making huge strides in his development that would not have been possible but for the advancements made in research that were partially funded by MDF.
Massimo's family is grateful, but say more must be done, and they hope to see everyone at the annual Megan's Hug event outside Sick Kids Hospital on Mother's Day. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Parents of children with diabetes in Ontario are calling on the Ministry of Education to improve its standard of care for diabetes in schools. Currently, they say the supervision and help kids receive varies widely from classroom to classroom and board to board. A spokesperson for Education Minister Paul Calandra says policy regarding diabetes care is currently under review. Doctors are once again warning about the dangers of AI and misinformation when it comes to health advice.
Some patients are turning to ChatGPT before consulting a doctor to try and self-diagnose, and that can be harmful to their health. CTV John Venevali Rao has the details.
Here's what you can do using ChatGPT.
Online, there's long been plenty of hype.
ChatGPT is now better than your doctor.
About how AI chatbots can diagnose medical problems. A quick consult that's free and easy.
Honestly, I think it's really good. I would place a lot of trust in the answers it gives me.
But the Canadian Medical Association sounding the alarm, warning consulting an AI for medical advice can be dangerous, especially if a patient delays or skips seeing a human doctor.
I would suggest that they need to be extremely curious and cautious, and that the best is still to see their family physician or primary care provider or specialist.
In a new survey of 5,000 Canadians, around half said they'd consulted with either Google AI or ChatGPT for health information. But the survey also found those following AI health advice were 5 times more likely to report health-related harms compared to those who didn't.
The harms tend to be delay in diagnosis or side effects from the treatment.
I think it's pretty good at some things, but there are some inaccuracies.
Some are concerned patients are turning to AI chatbots because of the shortage of family doctors. In fact, more than half who got information online said they had to because a walk-in clinic or doctor weren't available. But experts say an AI can confidently state something untrue and lacks a full patient history.
AI doesn't know them as a full person in their context, whereas I do as a family doctor. I know that they actually had this other symptom last year that they forgot to mention to AI.
And it turns out many are skeptical of AI responses. Only 1 in 4 in the survey say they trust it to provide accurate health information. John Valley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
A warning now to check your blood pressure medication, as a production mix-up has led to a nationwide recall. Health Canada says 2 batches of 5-milligram tablets of meramlodipine are being recalled, as some bottles may contain the wrong drug. The correct tablets have 8 sides, are white to off-white in color, and have the numbers 210 and 5 printed on them. If your bottle contains any round or unusual tablets, don't take them and return them to your pharmacy.
A new Canadian study suggests babies who regularly eat peanuts, eggs, and fish are less likely to develop allergies. Researchers looked at more than 190 food allergy studies from around the world to identify the strongest risk factors to developing allergies. They found delaying the introduction of foods with peanuts until children were more than a year old doubled their risk of becoming allergic. The study found similar results for fish, eggs, and other common food allergens.
After the break, adjusting to a different time zone and later start times for competition at the Winter Games. How Canada's athletes are coping with the schedule and change in routine.
As we mentioned earlier, Canada's major airlines are winding down flights to Cuba because of the fuel shortage on the island. PNM Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more in tonight's business report.
WestJet and Air Transat have joined Air Canada in suspending service to Cuba. The airlines are making arrangements to get travelers now on the island back home. Flights are suspended because Cuba has cut off the supply of jet fuel to its airports. The island relies on Venezuelan oil, but that tap was turned off when the U.S. took over Caracas. The shortage has also hit resorts, leading to blackouts and closures. Ford got hit with an unexpected $900 million tariff bill at the end of last year. It brought the automaker's total tariff cost to $2 billion U.S. for 2025. As a result, when the automaker reported earnings today, they were weaker than expected. More electric vehicle charging stations will be built across Canada. Ottawa will spend $84 million to add 8,000 ports. It follows the recent announcement by the Prime Minister to spend a total of $1.5 billion to build out EV infrastructure. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 73.78. West Texas Intermediate is down to 64.16. Western Canadian Select is up to 48.69. And the TSX gained another 233 points today for a new record close. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
The owner of Yorkdale Shopping Centre has won its fight against an unwanted tenant moving into its former Hudson's Bay store. Oxford Properties took its fight against discount department store Les Ailes de la Mode to court. The company argued the retail brand, which owns Fairweather, is not suitable for its luxury mall. An Ontario judge ruled the plan lacked what she called commercial soundness and agreed to block the store from taking over the space.
A new survey shows Canada's auto sector is undergoing a fundamental transformation as a result of the changed trade relationship with the U.S. The KPMG Canada poll of 128 automakers and suppliers found 82% of respondents are adjusting their supply chain strategies, and 70% are exploring international markets. 63% of original equipment manufacturers and suppliers have increased prices because of the new tariffs. Manufacturers are also looking to diversify into other sectors, including 51% who say they're transitioning to defense production. But 40% of executives surveyed believe they can emerge stronger with the same business model.
Another Toronto Raptor is headed to next weekend's NBA All-Star game. Brandon Ingram has been chosen to play for the USA Stripes team. It is his second All-Star selection after appearing in the game during the 2019-2020 season. This time, Ingram will step in as an injury replacement for Golden State's Steph Curry, who is recovering from a knee injury. The Raptors guard will join teammate Scotty Barnes and head coach Darko Rajakovic at Sunday's game in Inglewood, California.
A rising star in Canadian tennis is advancing to the next round of the Qatar Open.
Out. Game.
Victoria Mboko made quick work of her opponent today, winning 6-4, 6-4 in a 1 hour and 37-minute match. The 19-year-old former Toronto resident now moves on to the third round at the WTA 1000 tournament. Next up for the 10th-seeded Canadian is Mira Andreeva of Russia. Mboko has improved her record to 10-3 this season.
The Blue Jays have announced a flurry of injuries as they prepare for start of spring training. Designated hitter Anthony Santander is said to undergo left labral surgery, causing him to miss the next 5 to 6 months. The team also announced starting pitcher Bowden Francis is out for the season as he undergoes elbow surgery. Lastly, Shane Bieber is expected to open the season on the injured list as he deals with forearm fatigue.
With the PWHL on an Olympic break, some members of the Toronto Scepters took time to visit with patients at Holland Bloorview.
CTV Sean Leithong was there.
At Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital, the Toronto Scepters are visiting, but according to the players, the heroes are the kids.
They have a superpower of being resilient. You know, they don't, no one ever tells them no, and because of that, they can just keep pushing, and they know that they can get where they want to go.
They're here to kick off the 10th annual Capes for Kids fundraiser. Those who donate can earn their own cape while supporting kids recovering from sometimes life-altering injuries.
It's really cool because I like hockey.
Like 10-year-old Finley Hines, who suffered a playground injury to her spine last June and has been here ever since.
She started hockey 3 weeks before her accident, so hockey is something that she really wanted to take part in, and I think the visits from the Scepters are actually making her feel like she probably could still do it.
Meeting Scepters Claire DeGeorge and Savannah Harmon for the first time, though Finley and Jessie Comfer have met before.
And just the smile on her face when I walked in today and how she remembered me, it just made me really excited to just be able to do little things like that. I mean, Finley was cracking me up and she was kind of chirping Jessie, and I was encouraging her every part of the way, but it's just been a lot of fun.
Or kids like 13-year-old Hannah Black, who will be going home soon after rehabbing from a life-changing illness.
It's really cool to see some famous hockey players.
It really cheers up, brightens up the day. I mean, the days are so full with treatment, and luckily Hannah has lots of friends here, but it really makes the day fun for the kids.
So a few autographs, a few games, and capes for these little superheroes. Sean Leithong, CTV News.
Canada has added to its medal count on what was a mix of highs and lows today for our Olympic athletes.
The marquee event was a highly anticipated showdown in women's hockey between Canada and the United States. Here's CTV's Scott Hurst.
Down and out. Captain of the Canadian women's hockey team, Marie-Philippe Poulin, did not play against the Americans on Tuesday. She's listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury after taking a hit into the boards during Canada's win over Czechia Monday night.
Losing her is obviously a big one because the United States have been the better team internationally over the last couple of years.
And the United States proved to be too strong on this day, beating Canada to remain undefeated in the preliminary round of the women's hockey tournament. Staying on the ice, Canada is back on the podium, this time in short track speed skating, a silver medal in the mixed relay event.
So close to the podium in Beijing, so it kind of feels special just coming back here and just getting ourselves on the podium.
A shared moment of joy for Kim Boutin, Courtney Sarreau, William Dangenou, and Felix Roussel. Florence Brunel and Stephen Dubois also getting medals for skating in the earlier rounds. Figure skater Stephen Gogolev with a strong performance in the men's singles short program with a score of 87.41, setting himself up for the free skate on Friday. So far so good for opening ceremony flag bearer Mikhail Kingsbury, third in moguls qualification, just behind his teammate, Quebec City's Julien Viel. Both are moving on to the finals. And making its Olympic debut, women's alpine team combined. One skier tackling the downhill speed event, the other racing the more technical slalom course. Canadians Valérie Grenier and Laurence Saint-Germain finishing 13th. So the medal count now stands at 3, 1 silver and 2 bronze, with more athletes in the mix for medals tomorrow, including in the ice dance final. 3 Canadian pairs, led by Piper Giles and Paul Poirier, third heading into the final event. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Those watching the games in Italy might notice some of the events are starting later and later, and that's being done on purpose.
CTV's Garrett Berry explains.
Tonight is a night that hockey fans here in Milan have had circled on their calendars for quite some time. But there's something else notable on the tickets, the 8:10 start time. Tonight's game is one of many, especially here in Milan, that start well after dark. It's not unusual for events to start at 8, 9, even 10 o'clock at night and finish even later. Those late starts and finishes have been an adjustment for athletes competing on the ice.
You try not to look at your clock when you get back, but we did a great job coming into the village when we were in Lugano, making sure that we were kind of adjusting ourselves and staying up later than normal. I would say that usually, especially my roommates, they're probably going to bed usually a little bit earlier than 11:30, but when you know that you're going to be on the ice till that time, you don't really want your body to get into that rhythm.
We got a chance today to ask Olympic organizers about these scheduling choices. They say this is a conversation that happens during every games, but the later starts here in Milan allow more people in North America and around the world to watch events live. So to spread the Olympic message, they said it's a worthy move to change routines. Garrett Berry, CTV News in Milan.
And just ahead, have you ever thought, maybe I can do that? Many people watching the Winter Games might be wondering, and a Toronto content creator is taking on the challenge.
Tonight, Canada and the U.S. face off over a multi-billion-dollar bridge.
Canada, of course, paid for the construction of the bridge, over $4 billion.
What the Prime Minister said on a phone call with the U.S. President. Later on CTV National News, and watch on Crave.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
If you've ever watched any events at the Winter Games and wondered, could I do that? You're not alone.
One Toronto content creator decided to try her hand at everything from skiing to skeleton. CTV Jessica Smith introduces us to the out-of-shape Olympics.
Watching the Winter Olympics has a lot of people saying, maybe I could do that.
I think I could give a hand at ice dance because you don't need to do any of the crazy jumps or anything like that.
Ice dancing or downhill skiing is my forte.
Ice skating? Maybe singles, yeah. Because every time I partnered with someone, that's where I get confused or I'll trip over them. So just singles, I think it's possible.
To answer the question how the average Joe or armchair athlete would stack up against an Olympian, Toronto content creator Simona Stallone decided to take on the challenge.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into making something look effortless, and the purpose of this is the comedic twist of this is to showcase that in probably one of the most extreme kind of experiments, but I'm here for it. I commit to the bit, and I'm doing it for the plot.
Stallone created a social media series called the Out of Shape Olympics during the 2024 Summer Games, trying over 20 sports. Now she's back trying her hand at the Winter Games.
I think the whole purpose of the series, obviously, is one, to have fun, but two is to really showcase how amazing these Olympians are. This is Ewan.
How's it going?
Ski patrol.
During every attempt, safety precautions are taken, reaching out to professionals in each sport she tries.
I reached out to Mount St. Louis. I was like, hey, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. They were super receptive, and they were very excited to be a part of it. But at the end of the day, they're like, hey, we're going to assign a ski patroller with you the entire day.
The hardest Winter Games sports she's tried so far.
I did do bobsledding, and I did do skeleton. And skeleton was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
But her favorite's a Canadian classic.
Oh my gosh, I love curling so much. I never expected to like it that much. I was just went in really with no expectations. What a sport.
Showing that no matter what place an Olympian finishes in, their hard work and dedication are a testament to their incredible skill level.
Up next for Stallone, she's going to try her hand at figure skating events along with a little bit of snowboarding to continue to show her support for the Winter Olympics and its athletes in her own special way. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Well, I'm not going to do it, but skeleton, I can just lie there.
You could lie there. And the fact that they sent that girl down without any skill, I mean, maybe it is easy? No.
Not for me. I'm going to leave it to those who have been training for months and years. I think that sounds good. We'll just enjoy watching them be so talented. We'll take one more look at weather for this evening. You know, things have really improved over the last couple of days here, temperature-wise for sure, and we have said goodbye to the snow that was with us a little earlier today. There's one more look at the satellite and radar. Waking up tomorrow morning, it is going to be a little cool first thing, but once again, we find ourselves on the plus side tomorrow afternoon, daytime high +1, and there's a couple of opportunities for us to climb above freezing over the next 7 days. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina at 11 tonight for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Alman with your next local newscast. That's at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.